Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and tonight we're going to be talking about the fastest combatant in Mortal Kombat, Kabal! Now, I was actually intending at one point to make a, shall we say, theory video about how fast Kabal is, but I figured that wouldn't be very exciting, so I've left it aside for now. But based off of the math I was able to find, based off of approximate body lengths and such, Kabal is possibly running at like 40-50 miles an hour if memory serves. But again, that all depends on body length and trying to figure out how fast he's actually running and all of that. So that is something I might have to say for another time. But right now, it's Kabal time, baby. And let's do Kano next because we are connected. Yay! I fucking hate this character. I hate this character, Kano, but that should mean a relatively short video, right? I joke, I keyed. So, let's get this ball rolling. Let's talk about Kabal, who is quite an interesting character. From what I can understand, this guy, the key thing to stop him from doing what he does is basically mess with his momentum. Make sure that he doesn't get any momentum on you, and you should, in theory, be set. But one thing to keep in mind is that Kabal is safe on basically everything he does, as you're about to see in the frame data. You see knee buckle, swinging hooks, rising hook, straight boot, heel strike, side kick, spin kick, sweeping hooks. I don't think I actually talked about Collector's Sweep, but it's a fairly slow sweep that is minus on block, but it offers up no hurt box of its own because it's a stomp and magic. So that's a string, that's not a string, and I guess we will save the rest for part 2. Okay, knee buckle, 7 frame high, or mid, which is -4 on block. Very good for getting out of tight situations, even though Kabal has a 7 frame jab of his own. Swinging hooks. You're probably not going to see this bad boy, but it's actually a fairly interesting attack. It does 70 damage. It's +2 on block, but it's 16 frames, and not the best in the world, but again, +2. So if you happen to get this, you'll be plus, and that can give you some frame advantage. Next is Rising Fist. That's his uppercut. 10 frames, nothing to write home about. It's -7 on block, -17 on flawless block. This uppercut being -7 is actually really good because there's no 7 frame attack that is punishable like this. So he has a safe uppercut. Then we have straight boot, which is a 10 frame high, which is -4. Again, not something you would use too often, but a good button to know to have on the off chance that you figured this might kill. Then we have heel strike. This is 90 damage. This is Kabal's highest damaging normal, and it is +6 on hit. The only problem, it is 25 frames of startup, so the opponent is going to see this coming. So what I usually do is, I usually just do this, and use it to help end combos, because it's a high damaging normal move that you can kind of inject at the end of combos to keep things interesting. Then we have Sidekick, a 9 frame super stubby poke. This is stubbier than his down 1, which should give you an idea as to how stubby it is, so don't use this ever. Then we have Spin Kick, which is a 13 frame high that does 70 damage, and is +4 on block. So you get you get kind of in between the plus frames of the hook swing and the spinning kick and the heel strike, but you're also safer. But the problem is that this is a high, so you know, uppercut problems. Sweeping hooks is a 14 frame sweep. That is -13 on block. This is Kabal's least safe normal, as far as I can tell. But the thing is that Kabal can sweep from start of the match range effectively, like micro walk, sweep. Which means that even if it's -14? Yeah, -13, he might actually be able to keep himself safe just because not too many moves can reach him in time. Then we have finally Hook Swipe, an 11 frame low with really good range. This has the most amount of range of his crouching buttons, so you can use this to kind of slip under opponents and bop them. But it is -6, so be mindful of that. Now I actually have to go back and tag a few things because we have hop attacks, get up attacks, and both throws are actually just his back throw. Okay, so I could have tagged his back throw. I thought his forward throw had one too. But first up is Hammering Hooks. It's his short hop attack. It's 9 frames. And again, is like any short hop attack. It's unsafe, but it is really nice to throw out if an opponent is trying to do a wake-up launcher or is rolling away or is not expecting you to do a short hop. Brute Kick is also 9 frames and has similar range. So this is a case of pick your poison. It doesn't really matter. Like, same frame data effectively. I think Brute Kick is slightly safer, but it's a matter of degree. Yeah, it's 16 to -13, so it's a matter of degree, but Brute Kick is slightly safer. Then we have the Wake Up attacks, which I need to set up twice. Actually thrice, because I need to do one more scenario. There we go. So first up is Hook Punch, which is his invincible wake up. 11 frames, good mid, decent range, get off of me. That's what it boils down to. On block, it's -10. And I believe it's actually slightly less safe than that. On flawless block, it's -15. Then we have Hook Spin, which launches, of course. For combos. But what you should be careful about is that while this can anti-air really well, and I believe the Hook Punch can't, Hook Spin's -13, and he does the advancing for you in the animation. So you can throw whatever you want that's 13 frames or less his way, get a full combo punish. So, which means risky, but not an improbable thing to try and go for. And finally, if you fail a throw tech, Kabal gets a crushing blow on his back throw. But only on his back throw, meaning that you can push the tech input for a back throw, and yeah, you might get thrown for 140, but at least you're not eating 310 and for guessing wrong. But if you guess right, you've teched the throw successfully. Now let's talk about strings, because Kabal, despite being quite the combo character, actually doesn't have that many strings. He has 6 strings. Collector, we talked about in the last episode, had 10, and Sonya has like 13 full strings. I'm not talking like in-betweens, like in between hooks and blood splatters, but you get the idea. Speaking of hooks and blood splatters, this is going to be a Kabal's go-to punish, because it's off of a 7-frame jab and allows for combo continuations. So you could do this, get some damage, throw whatever you want. You get the idea. But the tricky thing is that... Oh, I gotta switch back. It's -5 on block, so you kind of give up your turn going for this thing. But the thing about Kabal is, remember, he is basically safe on everything. He can go for this, and while he does give up his turn and has to block, he's not unsafe enough for you to punish off of this. And that's fairly unusual because of a launcher. And that's not all. We have Extermination Squad, which comes off of a really nice mid that almost starts the round. Just like that. And Extermination Squad is actually more safe. It's -4, despite the fact that he's using his weapons. And this has a crushing blow, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's crushing blows if this is a counter or a punish. But I can never figure out what to do after this thing. because it says it's plus 41, but I can never figure out what to do after this. I'm sure there's something you can do. Oh yeah, I know what I can do. Dash in and press 1-1, go for dash. Or maybe you not even need to dash. Wait, he fell over that. Okay, there we go. Gotta kind of mash it, but you can get a punish off of this thing. It'd especially be helpful if I could... Yeah, I'm not suck at this. There it is. There it is, 35%. A little bit tricky, but if you can get this punish, that's actually a fairly decent crushing blow. Then we have Vapor Trails, which knocks the opponent down, and all of the hits are mid except for the first one. And it's -2, meaning that this is completely safe. If the opponent meaning that this is basically safe. And because the starting animation is 9 frames, the opponent has to go for a 7-frame jab to beat you. And not every character has 7 frames to work with, especially at this range. Then we have Sandman, which is basically implementing the stand kick, or the standing boot, in a way that allows for extended combos. So you would do something like this. I'll tell you how this crushing blows later. And then you would use Sandman to extend your combo to get really nice damage. That's the idea behind Sandman. Then we have Maimed and Mangled, which is actually a fairly interesting string. -2. A lot of Kabals will go for this one because they're fishing for its crushing blow, which is, if you counter or punish an attack, 21%, and they are knocked down, baby. And then finally, we have Left 4 Dead. A decent ending string that knocks the opponent fairly far back and allows Kabal to start throwing projectiles, or if he thinks he sees a slow projectile coming, Nomad Dash. Not that I would recommend throwing this out willy-nilly unless you're really confident you can. And even then, be prepared to face the consequences if you do. Now let's talk Universal's special moves. He has not that many, but they are very effective moves indeed. First up is Buzzsaw, a fairly decent projectile that hits high. The amplified version has a crushing blow, but its requirement requires that this be a punish. Meaning that you have to hit the opponent after active frames. So this is really good for counter zoning. If you predict a projectile, do this. And if you're potentially fast enough, you could actually go for a full screen Nomad Dash here. See what I mean? And of course, if you're at close range and your opponent's going for something slower, you can see where the idea comes from. But remember that this has to be a punish. So no willy-nillys. You have to basically predict the opponent. And get your combo that way. Air Buzzing Buzzsaw is basically Katana's air fan, except it's aimed downwards. Nothing to write home about, but it's a good mid projectile. And if you amplify, you come down to the ground quicker. This is one of those amplifies that the idea is you land this thing, amplify, and then potentially get a combo. But I don't think there's anything fast enough that allows Kabal to do that, at least at not without going for a short hop. And even then, standing one's not coming out, so it's kind of tricky. It's one of those bizarre amplifies that I'm like, why was this an amplify? It's the same with Katana with her air fan toss. Why amplify to make her drop quicker? Just amplify it so that she throws a second projectile that makes juggles happen, damn it. And then we have Nomad Dash, Kabal's signature move. run in and run past the opponent, leaving them open to your shenanigans. However, I'm sure you know what the problem is with this. It's minus 34 on flawless block. And even if it's not a flawless block, look at that, minus 29. It's still minus enough to get Kano's Fatal Blow to land consistently. And that thing is 25 frames. Really, really slow. Also, before I forget, if you're wondering about the frame data for the Buzzsaw, treat it like a standard projectile, because you're not generally going to be throwing these out at close range anyway, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, Nomad Dash and Hook Slam are both most of his unsafe options, but they are worth it because of combo ability. Now, on its own, Hook Slam doesn't combo. It does 10% damage, and on Amplify it does 140, same damage as a throw. But if this is a counter or a punish, or breaks armor, you got yourself a combo. But here's the thing about that requirement. It actually changes the crushing blow. So, if I were to use this as a counter or punish, I actually get it as a pop-up. But if I use it to beat breakaway, it knocks them down. I don't like that. I get the idea that they were trying to go for, but I really don't see the point of treating it this way. It should be the same universally. But I guess that would make this crushing blow too broken. As if there wasn't already a broken crushing blow or two out there. Too slow. Come on. Why is that not working? There it is. Come on. So you get decent damage off of it for sure. But if this were, let's turn off breakaway so that I can show you what I mean. Let's say this were to actually act like it does normally. Stop walking. Come on. See, I can get more damage that way. And that would be nice, but I don't think it would be too broken to ask for, even though, again, more damage can be scary under certain situations. I mean, if you saw my essay about Kotal's buffs, you're glad that the command grab buff and the totems and the sun and the parries are not allowed in one combination. Otherwise, that would make for one of the easiest touches of deaths possible in Mortal Kombat 11. But let's talk about the unique moves in Variation 1, Mean Streak. We get a low buzzsaw, just like a high buzzsaw, slightly slower, and the Amplify, he throws a second one down. And then, if you do this, you can't get a Nomad Dash. I thought you could, but you can't. But this is really good for zoning because generally low projectiles are preferable over high ones because you can just duck under high projectiles and not worry about it. But a low projectile, you have to try and jump. And if you get too comfy on that, I can do something like straight buzzin', which is an air version of the straight buzzsaw. Now, nothing that Kabal has here gives him a crushing blow. So he has no crushing blow off of rolling buzzsaw. He has no crushing blow off of air buzzsaw, which, by the way, this drops down, but it makes sense. Like if I do this. Like if I do this. Yeah, at least that makes a little bit more sense. Because I can at least try in the corner, but it's not something that I can really recommend. Also, it looks like air straight buzzin' replaces the downward buzzsaw, unless that might have been a gear ability that I showed off by mistake, which I don't think I did. Anyway, Nomad Dash gains a new ability to be dash canceled. Basically, you can fake out the opponent on block pressure in order to Like, if they block, you can cancel yourself out of it and then go for a throw. Because they see that animation. They see that wind up and they're thinking, oh, it's Punish City. But then it doesn't come out. And then I can get whatever I want. I can get a throw, I could go back for pressure, I can try and mix you up, so... And then, oh well, what should have happened is that... Keep up the pressure, you're -2, you try something, I throw you. The idea is there. And that's basically Mean Streak. It's a very traditional Kabal. So if you played Kabal in previous games and are just picking up Mortal Kombat 11 because, I don't know, you were interested in Melina or Rain or, I don't know, Rambo, I guess, and you're picking this up in November and we're like, hey, I actually used to play Kabal back in the day. Well, give Mean Streak a try. He's very traditional. Next we have Clean Cut, his second variation, and a fairly nasty bit of work this is too. See, this does have a new crushing blow, and it allows for a mix-up, because now we have low hook grab. A 15 frame low, and remember, and if you're curious, the overhead is 22 frames, so it is fuzzyable, but that means, if I just have him on stance, he's blocked. Wait, is there a flawless block gap there? I'm just making sure that I don't have one either. Okay, so I was just making sure that there wasn't a flawless block gap that I missed there. But let's say he's blocking, he's stand blocking, so he's locked in this position where I can just keep doing this, but I want to open him up. Well, as long as he's not in block stun, I can use this to get a, or it doesn't even have to be in block stun, I can just use this, which doesn't have an amplify, but it knocks the opponent back pretty far. And if the opponent is still stand blocking, but isn't in block stun, crushing blow for 270 damage. Not bad at all. Then there's Nomad Spin. Why is this a thing? What's the deal with this thing? It looks like it doesn't scale, which is really weird, but what is this for? Like, am I supposed to end combos with this thing in the corner or something? Because this seems like a really weird way to end a combo, when I could just do hook slam. But let's see. Let's see if maybe in the corner I can make that work. I said in the corner. Thank you. Hold on. I have to like... Yeah, I'd have to like do something like that. Or how about this? Yeah, I'd have to like use it in the corner, but it doesn't scale as compared to, let's say, come on, hook slam, which does the same amount of damage. So I don't know. This seems like a throwaway move to me, basically. They did buff it to make it so it doesn't scale, but here's the thing. It's -6, so Raijin can punish this. This might be what it's for. This might be a sort of pseudo-alternative to the hook slam, because the hook slam is unsafe, but you go for this thing and you're -6, but it seems dicey. You can amplify this thing to make it do more damage, but again, it does the same amount of damage as hook slam. And frankly, it just looks silly. Then there's extended hook, and this is really good, because the idea behind this attack is you hook the opponent and pull it in, although apparently at maximum range it doesn't let you do that, interestingly. But let's say the opponent is in the air for some reason, and I hit them with this, which is down back 3, not down back 1. Well, I pulled them back in and now they're restood, and I'm +2. Meaning that, okay, I might not get much off of it, but they're restood. And that is a powerful thing in this game. Because if they're restood, then they cannot wake up. They can't roll, they can't wake up attack in any way, and they can't delay. So, this becomes a really powerful way to deny an opponent a chance to beat you at the wake-up game, which is really good. Not too many restands like this exist, but it's definitely worth trying this variation out, at least for the low hook grab and the extended hook. Nomad Spin, it's just a sprinkle that you're not going to notice too much. Finally, we have the spins, and this is my favorite Kabal variation, even though this was originally called Speed Demon, and they changed it to the spins for some reason. First up, we have Low Spinner, which, kind of like low hook grab, ends low. But if you amplify this baby, you get yourself a launcher, which is really big. So let's say... Oh, yeah. Oh, this would work really well in the corner. See how easy that was and how flashy that was? That is because we also have hook grab, which, as you can tell, is an anti-air. Hook the opponent, slam them down, and if you amplify, it launches. So... there you go. You can get potentially really nasty damage. And the thing is that none of these have crushing blows. And then we have a restand tool to boot. So let's do this combo again. Look, I restood them because I used Gas Blast, which left me at +3 and restood them, again denying their wake-ups. So that's just the tip of the iceberg for this. If I had Meter, I restand them and leave myself at +9 with all this range. But that's not all for Gas Blast. If I miss the Amplify, there's now a cloud on the field, and Kabal gets a surprising amount of healing out of this. Let's say we are at 80% health. Let's say, for the sake of argument, we're at 80% health. 60%. You know, we lost a decent amount of health, and I'm standing in it. You can see very quickly that I am regaining health. I only gained 70 health, but that's the same amount of health as a sweep. Now, let's say this is out in the field, and I throw him. I'm getting my heals, and they took more damage. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this attack, right? It acts almost identically to Kotal Khan's Sunbeam, except it has to amplify to exist in the first place. See, they're taking 5 damage over time, but if Kabal is standing in it, for some reason or another, they must have used the same code as for Kotal Sunbeam. They're taking more damage if I'm standing in it. And I think, although, let's see. It totally does, too. It totally gives Kabal the damage buff while he's inside, and that might be why. I need to see. Okay, so that's actually really good for this purpose. 12.5. Yeah, it's a 25% damage boost, just like Kotal Khan, which is kind of nuts. If you anticipate somebody trying to delay wake up in, let's say, the corner. Let's say somebody were to delay wake up in the corner. We're going to get them to delay long. Just do this, and let's say we anticipate it. Well, look at what you just did. You just put them in a hell of a situation, my man. They're trapped in the corner, taking more damage as you're healing, at least as long as you're inside of the gas cloud, and you are doing damage over time. It's a scary potential prospect, and that is actually what attracted me to this variation at first, because I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. But what kept me around is the combos. Again, if I didn't suck. Look at that. 34%, and I didn't even have to try. And, of course, What do you suppose happens if you get a crushing blow and let's say we get a crushing blow going, or let's do this crushing blow. Look at that, 45% there in the corner, and it's just a bad time. Let's see. I just want to see what did more damage, and I can even sacrifice a little bit of damage to keep them re-stood in the corner. Scary shit. Now let's very quickly talk about his the final move, which, as usual, is his fatal blow, which is called Off the Hook. This bad boy is really, really fast. It's actually deceptively fast. It's 21 frames, but here's the thing. Hold on, I gotta turn blocking on for a second. If it's blocked, minus 35 with all that pushback. But if it connects, well, you get a fatal blow. Whip, 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 whap. And you get pretty good damage out of the deal, too. You get almost 330 damage, but that last hit scales for whatever reason. So, don't forget to be awesome, my friends. I'll see you guys on the other side, and check out this sweet, sweet Kabal combo.